Lady Calysta. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Iron Throne. Now this video is sponsored by Netmarble. The topic of this video is going to be the battlefield section of Iron Throne. Now there are 5 different categories within the battlefield section. One of them is town mode. Not going to be talking about that today. We talked about it extensively during my last video, but what we are going to talk about extensively today are the other 4 modes, and in particular we're going to start off with the Battle Royale mode, which is kind of the battlefield. And I have to say, this is by far my favorite part of this game, and it is a mode that I am so shocked nobody's really done yet. It's awesome, and you guys are gonna see, like, I have a ton of footage here. I've done this a few times, so I'm still kind of like newbie at it, but my goal is to get a lot better. And as you'll see, this is a Battle Royale type mode. So for those of you that aren't familiar with how Battle Royale works, it's basically a last man standing or last woman standing type of mode, where you have, in this case, 20 players on the battlefield. Everyone is going to start off shielded. So that's the first thing. Everyone's shielded. So the first thing that you're going to do, because you are shielded, is attack the chaotic strongholds. Chaotic strongholds, for those of you that don't remember, are the non-playable characters in the game. And they each will give you 400 coins or points, which you can see on the upper left-hand side of the screen. Now, the reason that you're collecting these coins is because they do help you get some really awesome rewards, like the ones that are listed on the upper left hand side. Now those rewards are awesome. They'll be in the form of like speed ups and improving your troop HP or troop attack, troop defense. So definitely things that you want to make sure that you're doing. Now after 30 seconds, everybody's shield drops, and that's where it starts to get really interesting. So for the most part, I would say people will continue to attack the chaotic strongholds until you've basically cleared the map of them. And that's going to be really helpful because it'll let you kind of teleport all over the place. Now you can see there, I have some company, and you can see there, I just got attacked. Couple of things to mention. You see how fast that guy hit me. He used a ton of speed ups. Now, when you enter Battle Royale, they give you 100 speed ups completely free. And all the troops that die or get hurt or whatever in this game mode doesn't affect your actual castle. You also get teleports. So it's pretty cool, right? Like, they'll give you teleports, they'll give you speed ups, and then any troops that you're using for fighting aren't, like, they have the specs of your troops, but everybody's a castle 25, for example. So they do these things to make the game even more fun, because it doesn't become this thing where it's just people that have like a ton of speed ups that are going to do well, or people that naturally have like really high castle might or whatever. Like, they try to level the playing field a lot, which I think is pretty cool. Now what I'm showing you guys here, this is interesting, and this is what I've noticed a couple of times that I've done this so far, is first blood is really important. And the reason for that is, once you see somebody is hurt, and you can see it by the HP bar underneath each of our names, you want to basically zero that person, right, by getting them down to 0. So I took a chance and ported right in the middle of these 2 castles, decided to start spamming attacks to this one castle, so it became obvious that he was like the weaker one in this particular grid, square grid that you can see, and hoping that somebody else would be like, oh yeah, this guy's weak, let's like all gang up on him, right? So you're trying to do a lot of these things without necessarily communicating, because everybody's ultimately your enemy, right? Like, it's not like you're coming in here with like 5 friends and everybody else the enemy. Like, it is truly like a 1v20 type of thing. Like, we're all kind of versing each other. If you look at the upper right hand side of the screen, you'll see that kind of mini map. The squares that are in red are squares that are on fire. So what the game does to force you to kind of have to engage, and here I actually said good job, because this was pretty cool. Like, it was a team effort. And I totally took a gamble, right? But you can see there, that red kind of square, that's on fire. So the way that the game makes you have to fight each other and have to be in close quarters with each other is, as this Battle Royale progresses, each of those boxes is going to turn red, start burning. If you stay there, you will die. So you need to move, right? You can see here, we ended up zeroing this guy. Now somebody's trying to basically attack me. You cannot port if you have troops outside of your castle, so you want to make sure you save speed ups to be able to bring your troops back easily. That's going to be really important. And you'll notice, like, What I'm doing here is because I have been attacked a couple of times, I'm in danger of looking like I'm the easy target, right? So that means that I have to constantly move around, and I have to make sure that if I see somebody that has like 2 of those boxes down or 3 down, that I go ahead and attack them in the hopes that other people will be like, oh yeah, he's like super low, like let's all, you know, gang up on him. That's literally like what this whole thing is about. You want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a position like in the middle of a bunch of castles that have full health, because again, you don't want to look like the weaker guy. That is what I have noticed as I've kind of played this. You want to also make sure, like for example here, Eisenhurst, I think on the bottom left, he looked pretty weak, right? So that's a good person to attack. You can see they're already attacking him. I'm gonna go ahead and attack him. Everybody can sense blood in the water, right? So everybody's like, oh yeah, let's go attack him, let's zero him. Now you can see on my upper left hand side of the screen, I am getting the rewards. I'm at the almost 8K mark. Once you get 10K, you get the final reward, and that's ultimately what everybody wants to do. If you look at the upper right hand side of the screen, 14 out of the 18 castles that are in this battle royale are still up and fighting, which is really surprising to me because I feel like this can get pretty crazy. And I will say, as you guys are kind of seeing how this whole thing works, right? People are sending scouts, people are sending attacks. I just usually will go and send an attack. This guy is pretty strong though. I don't, the XYZ player. So it's hard to kind of bring him down, but you can see I have Misbehaving next to me. She's pretty weak. I decided to move away in case I didn't want to be between both of them, because it makes, again, me also look like a target. You want to be at the corners and the edges of the map to make yourself harder to attack. Very similar to the kind of strats that you would see normally, right? Like when you're thinking about, you know, you don't want to get gangbanged. Where are you going to position yourself so that doesn't happen? Same type of thing as you're kind of using your teleports. You want to be smart about that, right? So you can see here, people are sensing blood in the water. Everybody goes, attacks. And this was kind of annoying because I was using some of my final speed ups and they ended up getting beaten before I was able to get there. But you can see then I get attacked. So clearly I need to move. When you see that kind of hive blinking thing, that basically means that that square is quickly going to go on fire. Here I'm doing the same thing, basically looking for castles that are weaker than I am. Again, I don't want to be that target. You can see here a couple of people are starting to attack him, and I am just really focused on trying to get that 10K number so I can go ahead and get the final reward, and I will show you guys what those rewards look like. And here I'm just kind of searching the map again, looking for an easy target that I can quickly attack. Some people like to play this, and I noticed this with some of the other castles. They play it like super chill and they don't attack anyone. So I guess they don't want to get the 10K, like all the rewards. And maybe they don't need it. I definitely need it. Like right now in this game, I am completely free to play. So I need those rewards, peeps. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attack. And you guys know, just in general, I love playing fighting war games. I love attacking. That to me is like the best part of the game. So the fact that I can do this here without losing my troops, without losing my own speed ups, and without losing my own teleports, like what? It's like this mode was made for me, right? So I, of course, am going to attack. I was super happy at this point. I had already received the final rewards. So in this case was just kind of you know, jumping through the map. Half of the players are still in it to win it, and we only have 2 squares out of the 9 squares available. So we are all jam-packed into these like little itty-bitty squares. Like you can see right now, there's only 2 squares that are available for us to kind of like sit in. So that's kind of crazy. You can see here, these 2 guys are kind of attacking one another. At this point, I was in trouble because I didn't have any speed ups left to bring my troops back. Like that was my bad. I overextended, you guys. So then here I'm gonna get attacked. I don't know, this guy can probably tell I don't have any more speed ups left, right? Because he can see my troops walking back really slowly. So it's gonna take me, like those are my people coming back. It's better if you obviously have them in your castle. But in this case, I did not have any more speed up, so I have to be a bit careful with how I'm teleporting and making sure that I'm not in a position where I'm surrounded by other players, right? I'm not overly concerned because there are other players on the field that are considerably weaker than I am, and as I mentioned before, that's what it's all about. Now this guy is trying to attack me. Not surprised, because he wants to get me down to the level that he's at, right? So it makes it easier for him. I'm gonna go ahead and I would think I was gonna try to port in at this point. But again, was still ended up getting attacked. I don't know if that attack actually came through. It did. It came through right as he had surrendered, which is kind of a bummer. But you can see here, I'm not in a good position, and our square is on fire. So at this point, 7 of us are still up, and the entire map is on fire. So we are all just losing HP very, very quickly. So it's going to be a matter of people that have just taken less damage. You can see all of us are just kind of down for the count. I am going to die at this point, but I wanted to get a final attack in because why not? And I ended up losing. I think I came in. I ended up still making him surrender, so I made Alvaro surrender. So I felt good. I was like, yes, he got one. And then I just kind of like stayed on the map. It was so close to the end anyway that there were only 2 players left. And again, because the entire map is on fire, it forces the game to end like early, right? So it's not going to continue on forever and ever. Plus, it does have a counter. If you look under Battle Royale, there's 5 minutes left. But I will say this was so much fun. Like, and again, those of you that watch my channel for a while, you guys know, like, hello, the fact that you can do all this is so up my alley. And they did a really great job with it. So wanted to talk about the other modes really quickly. This one is the story mode. So there's a variety of different like chapters as you're going through it. So you want to make sure that you're constantly doing these. They do give you like really cool rewards, and they give you the opportunity to kind of do a little bit of map strategizing, which I think is always cool. And this is, again, very different than any of the other battle modes that you can do, this and Arena. So you're able to decide where you want to place your archers, where you want to place your cavs and your siege. And you can try different formations, particularly if you're stuck on a specific level. And you can see there some of the rewards, silver, you know, a lot of the things that we're going to need. After you finish each big chapter, I think for this particular chapter, you're going to see I did get gold, which was awesome. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Now, another thing to mention is you do have the ability to use special abilities right there. You can see I pulled him in. So cool, right? Like you can have fire, you can drop an ogre, like there's a variety of different things that you can strategically drop on the map that are going to help you win. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that, and you can figure out per match how much of each thing you want to send, like how much siege, etc. You can see here we finished this chapter and we got 3,000 gold. Gold is super important in this game. It is basically like how you do all the big things, and you definitely need gold for some of those really expensive buildings like your prison to be able to keep moving it forward. You can buy shields with it, so super important. Definitely want to make sure that you're focusing on that. The next thing that we'll quickly touch upon is the arena. Now you have the opportunity to set up your defense squad, right? So that is basically you can be challenged at any time in arena, so you want to make sure that you have your kind of optimal defense up there. I think right now, and I'm going to show you that in a second, I'm going to click and I'm going to show you guys what my defensive team looks like, so you can decide it based on the heroes that you have in there, as well as the different groupings of tier troops. So do you have infantry, siege, cavalry, archery, etc.? Like how many of each of those you want to put in, and it'll depend on the heroes that you have in there, right? Like if a lot of them are really, really strong in infantry, maybe you want to heavy up on infantry. If they're archery, maybe you want to do that. Now, the important thing here that I wanted to call out is you do have the opportunity, again, to do a little bit of map strategization. You're able to put different tiers of troops in different places. You're also able to use the special abilities that we're able to use in town mode, which is pretty cool. And the cool thing is you're also able to get buffs. So if you look at the bottom left, you can see that with 2 wins, you get a troop HP of X%. I think it's like 2 or 5. And then all the way to 10 wins. So what I'm going to do, because I still have my 10 entries, I'm going to do them back to back. And I literally just like refreshed the list of people I could go against and went down the whole list. And it was funny because the people, when I went ahead and did that, they were all super weak, so it was very easy. Obtained 2 gauntlets, and you can see there, that's kind of how it works. And we ended up getting a troop attack 20%, troop HP increased 20%, a duration of an hour, which is pretty cool, right? And then there is obviously like ranking within there. You can see how strong you are. So again, like pretty cool, something that you want to make sure that you're keeping up with. And that basically covers arena. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys is also a battlefield mode, but this is called Team Deathmatch. So a couple of things. This is supposed to be a 20v20 type deathmatch. I think in this particular case, we ended up doing it based on guild. So I was with one guildmate versus another guild and their guildmate, so like 2v2. Now I will say I totally sucked at this. I did not do well. I really felt confused because I hadn't done this particular mode before. This was the first time. And I was expecting something similar to Battle Royale, and it wasn't, because you have kind of that bar up on the top, and that was totally throwing me off, and I kept looking at it and I'm like, oh my god, we're not doing as well, and getting myself like amped up in like a bad way, like getting myself nervous. And there's a couple of ways that you're able to get points. So you're able to get points by farming, by hitting monsters, and lastly by attacking. And for whatever reason, I wanted to make sure, I kept seeing everybody like getting these points, and you are shielded for quite a bit in the beginning, that I started like doing things that were not very smart. So I noticed here like they were already starting to like fight each other, and I had like troops that were like farming and stuff, so I had to like recall them, and I'm like, oh my god. And you see guys, like this is why I am not a farmer. Like the times that I try to do it, it never works out for me. And even in this case, I'm like, you know what, if I needed any more like, I don't know, evidence that I should really just not ever farm, like this is it. Like the one time that I tried to do it, it was completely useless, and I was letting my teammate down. Like I was doing so terribly, felt really bad. And I'm also one of those people that feel really bad if I don't do well, even in games. Just like, I don't know, I just am like that. So I'm like totally beating myself up, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. I feel so bad. He's like doing so much better, or she is doing so much better than I am from a points thing. And I keep looking, you can see I keep looking, and I'm bumming myself out. I'm like, okay, like let's try to zero this guy. But I still have like, I'm still trying to recall troops that were sitting on tiles, because I was like, are people letting them sit on tiles and that's how they're getting points? Like, I just wasn't quite sure. I feel like when I do this the next time, I'm going to be a lot better. So you'll see a better show. But you can see here, this was getting kind of crazy. We're focusing Goal Lurk, and you can see that there, right? Like that became pretty obvious. We end up defeating him. Then it's kind of 2v1, but we're both really short. Like we're both just like not doing super well. And this is a case where you can send multiple marches, but it was like hitting a tank. Like he was the tank of the duo. Like it was hard to burn him, and it was hard to bring down his HP. Like that's what I totally noticed. I was just like, good God, like we just kept sending attack after attack after attack, and we could not bring down his HP. Now there's different things people will do here. What I have noticed that people do in this mode is they will reinforce each other. So what may have happened is he was reinforced the entire time by his teammate. That sometimes is pretty smart, right? Because you're going to attack and attack and attack, and you're not going to get anywhere, and then they attack you and you get hit, right? And usually if you're going to reinforce, you are kind of self-sacrificing someone. In this case, he had us both pretty low. Like the guy that ended up getting defeated did do some damage before he got defeated. So it felt like he was reinforced. I don't know. Like he was just smoking and smoking. We would burn him, and then he would smoke again. But it was very difficult, I will say. And at that point, I was completely out of speed ups, so I couldn't necessarily like spam attacks. I feel like if I had speed ups, I would have been a lot smarter, porting around him, speeding attacks, moving away quickly, making it harder for him to catch me. Like there's a lot of things I could have done had I not wasted my speed ups in the very beginning doing the nonsense with the farming thing. Like that was just so not smart. And I didn't realize, you know, given that it's 2v2, like it would be like a different type of vibe playing like this. So totally learning experience. But again, I think this is the kind of stuff that makes it so fun, right? Because I didn't lose any of my real troops. I didn't lose any of my real speed ups. I didn't lose any of my real teleports. But you get a ton of practice for the real battles in the main game by doing this kind of stuff, right? And they give you rewards for playing it, whether you win or lose. Even if you get defeated, you still win something. So you see, I still got chests and stuff. So like, you know, that's fantastic. Like I would strongly encourage you guys to play those modes. They will make you a better player overall. Hope this was helpful. As usual, thank you so much for watching.